Have you ever wondered about the meaning of life or whether morals were justifiable? Well, you're not the only one. Based on Murakami's 1992 barn burning, and more loosely on Faulkner's 1939 story of the same title, 2018 Lee Chang Dong's Burning is based around a young man, Zhangsu, attempting to make his way through life while struggling to make ends meet, as his father is on trial and his childhood friend's reappearance will lead him on a re-questioning of everything he thought he knew about life. Early on, Zhangsu's friend Hae-mi introduces him to the main theme of this film, little hunger versus great hunger.
영어로 hunger. 리틀 헝거와 그레이트 헝거. 리틀 헝거는 그냥 배가 고픈 사람이고 그레이트 헝거는 삶의 의미에 굶주린 사람이래. 우리가 왜 사는지, 인생에 어떤 의미가 있는지 그런 거를 늘 알려고 하는 사람. 그런 사람이 진짜 배가 고픈 사람이라고 그레이트 헝거라고 부른대.
Another way in which to understand the idea of little hunger is through the concept of nihilism. In a nutshell, nihilism rejects rules, morals, religion, and meaning in life. Rather, nihilism entices the destruction of a world or society, leaving the next generation to rebuild a new one, preferably atheist. In 1862, with the publication of Turgenev's novel Father and Son, the concept of nihilism was introduced and has, since then, remained attractive to young generations in postmodern countries who more often content themselves in the rebuking of authority and rejection of religion. On the opposite spectrum is antinihilism, referred to as great hunger in Burning. As great hunger represents the desire to seek out the meaning of life, antinihilism takes this one step further with the fulfillment of this search in God. In Burning, there are three main characters, Zhangsu, Hae-mi, and Ben. The first two are in search of something more in life, while Ben appears completely satisfied in his little hunger.
내가 요리를 좋아하는 건 내가 생각하고 원하는 걸 내 마음대로 만들어낼 수 있어서요.
In this film, Ben is the personification of the parasite that is nihilism, which infiltrates itself into a society only to destroy it, while keeping the appearance of goodness. Due to his higher social class, Ben is able to maintain his appearances while figuratively sucking out the lives of Zhangsu and Hae-mi. The nihilist penetrates and propagates their ideals, destroys morals, and vanishes. By the end of Burning, Ben is successful as he carries Zhangsu and Hae-mi further away from their goal of gaining the anti-nihilist stage, destroys Hae-mi, and entices Zhangsu to destroy himself by committing murder. Indeed, the beautiful ideal of great hunger is admired but never achieved. This video will track the happenings of this downfall and demonstrate that by taking Ben as their ideal, Hae-mi and Zhangsu are unable to overcome the societal norm of adhering to a nihilist perspective of life. In order to do so efficiently, the movie will be dissected into 4 acts. Act 1. Zhangsu and Hae-mi, Little Hunger, Great Hunger. Act 2. Zhangsu and Hae-mi and Ben, The Parasite. Act 3, Zhangsu and Ben, Propaganda. And Act 4, Zhangsu or Ben, A Victorious Defeat. At first, it is as if Zhangsu does not exist. His existence begins upon meeting Hae-mi, who surprisingly knows his name. After Hae-mi's reappearance in his life, Zhangsu is given a purpose and a desire. As the two engage in small talk at the bar, Hae-mi tells Zhangsu of her coming travels to Africa in order to achieve the state of great hunger. As she is explaining her plan, Hae-mi is also performing a pantomime act, which represents the emptiness of her state. She performs with what is not there and believes that if she desires the missing object enough, it will be as if it were there. In the same manner, if she desires great hunger, she could potentially feel it.
중요한 건 진짜 먹고
Really,
싶다고 생각하는 거야.
Hae-mi is a nihilist, longing for something more, and she goes to
진짜
Africa in
맛있어.
order to find this.
그래서 그 그레이트 헝거 만나려고 아프리카 간다고.
As we continue to compare great hunger with anti-nihilism,
멋있지?
it becomes clearer to understand why this does not work. Anti-nihilism is the finding of meaning in God, while Hae-mi searches for meaning in doing great hunger dances in Africa. During Hae-mi's time in Africa, Zhangsu, certain of their relationship, takes care of her cat while continuing to support his father's trial. He impatiently awaits her return, only to find Hae-mi coming back from Africa with a new man, Ben. This brings us to the second act, the Parasite. Further demonstrating that Ben is the nihilist infiltrator, he seems unfamiliar with the traditions of South Korea or tries to change them right from his arrival by calling himself under a Western name and by shaking Jungsu's hand instead of doing the traditional bow like Zhangsu as a form of salutation. He takes over the privacy of Zhangsu and Heimi and openly attempts to convert Hae-mi to let go of her desired ideals and surrender to the easy nihilist, self-centered life. Ben's romanticized life and charming appearances entice Hae-mi and Jungsu to hold him as an ideal as they are blinded from the poison of his anti-moralistic worldviews. Without knowing it, Jungsu is infected with this poison, and from that moment, his life will begin to portray the symptoms of a becoming nihilist. In the third act of Burning, Hae-mi is gone. This sudden disappearance induces Jungsu's obsession with finding her, hence leaving behind all possibility of reaching great hunger. Although work is very difficult to come by, Jungsu leaves a working opportunity and instead, stalking Ben becomes his only occupation. Evidently, Jungsu has ceased trying to give meaning to life, and he permits his momentary obsessions to take over his existence. While stalking Ben, Jungsu follows him to a church and attends a Catholic Mass.
그리스도 안에서 성령으로 하나 되어 전능하신 천주 성부 모든 영예와 영광을 영원히 받으소서.
He observes Ben as he greets the priest. As Jungsu focuses on Ben, he pays no attention to the only one who could have led him to the great hunger that he sought, and out of the dangerous obsessions from which he was now the unfortunate victim, the priest. Instead of realizing the place of truth in which he stood, Jungsu fixes his eyes and mind on Ben and misses his opportunity, thus leaving the road to redemption untraveled. By killing Ben in the final act, Jungsu might defeat the villain that he sees in Ben, yet he accomplishes precisely what Ben came to represent and carry out, the destruction of a society. Ben took under his spell two young, ignorant souls with no solid ground on which to stand. He was able to form them subtly into adhering into his little hunger, perhaps against their own will, to the point that nothing really mattered for any of them. Ben was able to destroy any moral standards that Jungsu and Hae-mi might have had to begin, and was able to do so with great ease, as both only relied on reason instead of religion to justify their moral behavior.
자연의 도덕이란 동시존재 같은 거예요.
Approaching her final moments, Hae-mi even admits that she would like to disappear as though she had never existed.
그냥 아예 없었던 것처럼 사라질 수 있었으면 좋겠다.
And later, exposes herself in front of two men without restraint. Hae-mi has given up.
창녀나 옷을 그렇게 벗는 거야.
As for Jungsu, he forgets all of his basic moral standards and assassinates Ben in a cruel manner. No thought of sin, nor punishment. Life is meaningless after all, so why not do what you want? Ben's nihilism succeeds, Hae-mi is gone, and Jungsu is internally ruined. Essentially, by seeking immediate pleasures, Hae-mi and Zhangsu become infested with the poison of nihilism. Zhangsu commits fornication, becomes lustful of Hae-mi, who then begins dating another man. Unable to detach himself from this lust, Zhangsu follows Hae-mi and Ben until he unintentionally idealizes Ben. Ben then effortlessly propagates his destructive beliefs to Zhangsu and Hae-mi, leading to their ends. Nihilism and little hunger seek to gratify oneself without worrying about the community, rules, morals, or God.
왜?
재밌잖아. 재미만 있으면 나 뭐든지 해.
If every man thought this way, a society would be at its ruins. Perhaps this destructive reality is not as far as one might think, and that is what Burning demonstrates through the tragic tale of two young men and a woman living in a postmodern, seemingly godless society, not much different from our own.